Deathwatch.
Hello, and welcome back to the Dresden Files, a Deathwatch Productions production. I'm Brandon, the Game Master, and we'll introduce our players, starting with Chris.
I'm playing Zach Meyer, a college student who's arrogant with a chip on his shoulder, currently breaking into houses.
I'm Travis. I'm playing ex-Baltimore detective Martin Caputi, and I just found out a piece of information I can't let go. I know that guy has a watch just like I saw in my vision.
I'm John playing Sean Barnes, or as my friends call me, Shawnee B. No, they don't really, though. I'm a bass player, and that's about all you need to know.
Okay. So, at the end of the last session, Sean and Zach had broken into Diane Bassett's house. She is the owner of the Neutral Grounds coffee shop and bookstore, and she's missing. So you'd gone to her house, and so now that's where you are. But inside her house, which one of you picked the lock?
Sean.
Sean picked the lock. Inside her house, you don't find any sign of her. There's nothing to indicate anything untoward took place at her home.
All right. I guess we start poking around. No sign of disturbance or anything? Obvious. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Start poking around, see if she left anything. I'll check is it spiritual? Is that the appropriate word for this, Brandon? See if there's any spells or whammies in the air.
Yeah, you could try to sense for some magical energies or whatever.
Yeah, so it's like part of the lore skill.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you want me to roll and investigate? Is that appropriate?
Mm-hmm.
I broke even, so 2. Fair.
Okay.
2.
All right. So you both, sort of wander around the house, each of you looking in your own different way, but at the end of it, you don't find anything of interest. There's no residual magical energies that you can detect, and, she's a neat person, so her house is pretty clean, and that's about it.
Well, let's go get out of here before we get ourselves in trouble and go meet with what's your name? Will?
Martin.
Let's go meet with old Martin.
Yeah, and then, so Martin, you were going to go meet them at Sean's house. Right? Is that the plan?
Well, it depends. Because after they're done talking to me, one of my aspects is I just can't let it go. Is I'm thinking about seeing that pocket watch, and even though I mentioned it and everybody was like, probably not, I just can't let it go. So I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking about this Eric McCullough. So what do I know of this guy? What I'm thinking about mechanically is I have contacts at Good, and one of the ways is to go out, gather information. I was like, who's the guy who hung out with them? Didn't I see them working at a newspaper stand down there? Go talk to that guy. Hey, where's Eric at?
Okay.
He not sure, but he usually is at the Waffle House. So
all right.
Then on to the Waffle House, so on and so forth, that sort of thing, right?
Okay. So you want to hit up your contacts?
Yeah, with the gather information trapping, right? Was that the word they used?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I go and I talk to people trying to learn the answer to a question. Where is Eric McCullough? And so where I want to talk to people is the in-between me and Eric, people like I know who I've seen talk to Eric, who I know where they might be, or, people that hang out around Neutral Grounds.
Yeah.
In that part of town, and see if I can bring anything up.
Okay. So what? All right. So go ahead and do your roll. And then I'll explain what you discover.
Evens out, so that I have that at good. So I rolled a good.
Okay. All right. So amongst your own contacts and people that you talk to, trying to get some information on this Eric McCullough, you don't learn anything that you didn't already know, which is essentially that he's just Diane's ex-boyfriend and that the breakup was not nice and that he doesn't agree with it. But you do manage to hear that from one of your contacts, you manage to figure out that he has spent some time around somebody named Russell Carson.
Who's that?
And not in a good way. So Russell Carson is a renegade sorcerer.
Oh, no.
And he's sort of amassed a small cult following in Baltimore amongst some of the minor talents and dabbling practitioners. And you just heard about him because the wardens are looking for him. And so they've been around, asking about him. And that's how you learned about him. So
why is Eric hanging out with this guy,
Right.
No?
So, no, but I mean, probably not for any good reasons.
Okay, well, that's something. I suppose I better head to Sean's place then, I think was the prearranged meeting spot.
Okay. All right. So, Sean and Zach, you guys get there long before Martin does. When you show up to your house, it's pretty busy like it always is because you got, roommates and everybody that is in a band. And so they're always up partying or whatever. So it's always been a pretty noisy place, but Martin hasn't showed up yet. And, that would be about 3 in the afternoon when you guys get there. And it's not until after 5 that Martin shows up.
There's how many people are around when he shows up. That'll determine how openly I would think that we talk.
Well, I mean, you have your room that nobody else goes into. And other than that, everybody's always, I mean, it's so noisy and everybody's involved in their own discussions that, nobody really pays attention to what anybody else is doing or talking about.
I'll do the only sane thing and invite this college kid and old man into my bedroom then.
Yeah. All right. So it's there. You guys can discuss what you've each learned.
I'll inquire of Martin what he found, if Martin is trapped.
Yes. Well, I don't think the police are going to do much of anything about this. No surprise there. But I didn't really find much beyond that. I'm still a little suspicious of this Eric fella, so I asked a few people I know where he might be, but they didn't help me out very much. They did tell me he's been hanging around with a guy named Russell Carson. I don't know who this guy is, but apparently he's some sort of renegade sorcerer wanted by the wardens. And that doesn't mean much to me.
While you're saying that stuff, someone comes pounding on the door.
It's Russell. Damocles, probably. It's your door, Zach.
And so Sean, some girl pops her head in and says, "The phone's for you." Because you guys have a landline, so she at this house, so she pops her head in and says, "Someone on the phone for you." Says he's a detective.
I'll be right back, and I'll head out to wherever the phone is.
Okay. Yeah, so the phone's hanging up on the wall out in the kitchen.
This is Sean.
Yeah, so you pick up the phone, you're like, "This is Sean," and you hear a voice be like, "I'm looking for Martin." Martin Caputi. This is Detective whatever my name was last session.
I never gave it.
Yeah.
Hold on.
No name.
And I'll go back to the
but
room.
spelled weird, right? Like
Let him know that. Let Martin know that the
N-A-H.
phone is for him. Did you tell anybody that you were coming over here?
No, I did not. But
This is awfully suspicious.
they could have followed me, I guess.
Says he's
I
a
didn't get that read
detective
when I talked to him.
so and so. I didn't write his name
I'll go
down.
see what he wants. No name.
Detective No Name.
That's N-O-H.
All right. So, so Sean, you go back to your room to tell Martin that. Martin and Zach, after Sean leaves, some dude comes in and he's like in his probably early 30s with like a receding hairline, but he's dressed, like these metalhead folks dressed, and he's got a guitar strapped on, and he's dragging in a little amp, and he's like, guys, listen to this, and he just starts playing like, it's not very good, but it's really loud. So
Yeah.
Sean, that's what you come back to. Like, you go back into your room, and there's a guy named Robbie that has, it seems like at least once a week, asks you if he can join one of the bands that you're in, any of the bands that you're in. And he's not good.
He doesn't play any instrument.
But people like him because he's nice, and he's always got smokes. So everybody lets him hang around, but he's not a good guitar player. He just really believes that he is. And he's in your room, and he's dragged his amp in there, and he's just, tearing it up in there. But it's pretty loud.
Well, I'm compelled by my aspect when he's finished to tell him that that's not my kind of music. I don't think it's good for your kind of music either.
Well, hey, Robbie, you got some smokes?
Yeah, man, I got some. So, hey, is there a spot open yet in one of your bands? Because I've been practicing. I don't know if you heard that, but I can play it again. And he starts
I can.
thrashing
Yeah,
again.
it's getting there, Robbie.
Explode
It's
his
getting
guitar.
there.
Yeah.
No, that's they have rules for it.
It
It's
is.
actually easy for
Pop
me
a
to
string.
blow his amp.
Yeah. It's called hexing. But in this case, you don't have to do it on purpose, because it happens. As soon as he's like, I can do it again, he starts going. And then there's like sparks like in Star Trek from the workstations. And it looks like it's going to catch the curtain on fire. And he's freaking out. It looks like he got zapped a little bit.
That's pretty cool, Robbie.
So,
Now you're.
yeah, almost there.
So his
might
eyes,
There's no,
his
no
eyes
room
are so
yet,
wide.
so.
He looks like Josiah did when he put that pin in the outlet. And, his eyes are so wide, and he's like, "Well, I don't know what happened there, but I think I'm getting better. What do you think, Sean? What do you think? I'm getting better, right?"
Yeah, you sure
He's
are,
patting
Robbie.
around for.
Just keep practicing.
All right, I gotta get a new amp, I guess. This one I
See,
got at a
that's,
pawn
That's
shop.
how you know when you're starting to get good, when you start blowing equipment.
Maybe
Yeah.
you should go into trade school, son.
Like a trade.
I mean, if you think about it now, a guy your age had made it by now, you might as well go a different direction, is all I'm saying.
Oh, well, you're just a negative, and you got negative energy, and that's probably
No, I want the best for you, son.
Well, it's fine. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I mean,
No reason to be rude.
So anyway, he takes his smoking amp and he leaves the room, and then Sean tells you that there's a detective on the phone for
Yeah.
you,
Right.
Martin.
Noah Ames, I think he said his name was.
Actually, that works. Everyone
Detective
calls them no
Ames.
names.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I'll go get the phone.
Yeah, so it's your friend, and he's like, "Hey, I'm just investigating through this, and I just had a quick question. Frank Williams, do you know who that is?" I've heard-
Diane's new boyfriend. I know
Oh.
who he is.
Okay, and what do you know about that guy?
Just that
So
so far. I don't know. I mean, I imagine
yeah, you don't.
I imagine Martin might get a little nosy if he could.
There doesn't seem to be
But
anything to
I
know
haven't
about
learned
the
anything.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't learned anything. Just if you want my guess, probably another bad pick on Dan's part. But
Well, that wouldn't have been your your first impression of him, like when he did come around, just that he'd be a boring
Yeah.
pick, but not a,
But not as bad as some of the past ones.
Well, like, I mean, that's what you thought. Like, this guy's so straight up and down that she'll
Yeah.
probably get bored of him.
Okay,
Even though
well,
he's...
I'll tell him that then. Yeah. Just, seemed like a working stiff, nothing to him.
Okay. Well, we went by her house to look for her. She wasn't there, but the door was open. It didn't look like there was any signs of a struggle, but we're dusting for prints just in case. So anyway, I just wanted to know what you knew about this Frank Williams.
Yeah, just what I told you.
Okay. Well, let me know if you come up with anything else, if you remember anything.
Yeah, I'll do just that.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, so there it is.
Yeah, I'll come back in, and if it's clear, I'll tell Zach and Sean what he was asking about. Frank Williams, Diane's new boyfriend. I don't know him very well. Either you guys know him?
Okay. Yeah, so you guys don't know him any better than Martin does. He just came around a couple of times to pick her up to go out somewhere or whatever. He seemed like a decent enough dude.
Yeah. Well, there was Lost in the Deep Waters. The rest of us, they went to her house. Didn't find anything there. Although they are dusting it for prints. But, yeah, Frank Williams. That's what I was asking you. But you guys apparently don't know anything, so. Anyhow, that's all I figured out for my part of it. And I'm assuming you guys didn't find anything at Diane's house either, since the police didn't.
Well, we talked to that old woman, and we found out that her ex-boyfriend showed up. Was it the other night or a couple nights ago, or sometime that week? I can't remember. And started causing a ruckus outside, big old row. And then later, a man who I can only assume is Damocles, Raven Guard, Bloodtard, showed up on a motorcycle and was also looking for her, but we didn't find anything inside the house.
Well, that's positive. Why don't we go squeeze that fella? That'd just be fun, even if we don't get anything out of it.
I'm all for that, but he is, what is it, the Red... What are the vampires called?
Red Court.
He is a member of the Red Court. You go squeezing him, no matter how idiotic he might present himself.
Yeah.
The rest of the court might come for us. We'd have to be careful.
I guess we could be polite. I mean, he might just know something.
Yeah. We could also, what's the word I'm looking for? We could also try to be, play up to his,
Ego.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might have a hard time doing that.
Yeah. But the thing is I don't think we have to try hard with him.
That's true. He sees what he wants to see.
So I'd say just be your brutally honest self, Martin, and just word it in a way that it could be taken either way.
Right. Okay. Well, I think we don't have a better direction to go in, so.
So you're going where?
Well, now we got to figure out where we could track down old Ravenborn, or Damocles Ravenborn. Mr. Ravenborn. What do we know about that guy? I try to know as little as possible.
He tells you what you don't know.
Right, but I seem to have a filter for it in my brain. I don't retain any of his long stories. I assume they're about his rise to supremacy, his successful glamour attempts.
All right, so Damocles Ravenborn.
Oh, shoot.
What the hell was that?
Sorry. Come on. It's still going. Sorry about that, guys. What the heck?
That's Damocles Ravenborn's band. What the hell was that?
Oh, man.
Please tell me that you were trying to generate AI club music.
No.
Oh.
That was part of Damocles Ravenborn's little dance video, but I don't know why it started playing. Okay, we lost John for a minute, though. So
You almost lost the rest
whole
of us.
thing. I didn't know it had any sound to it. That was crazy. Sorry about that, John. Your AI video started playing on Discord. I think when I was scrolling down, I accidentally clicked it, and because I saw you had a new message in there. And so now we know what it sounds like when Damocles Ravenborn enters the room. We got it at full volume.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when we're not playing, you should check it out yourself. That way you're on the same page. Max out your volume, put your headphones on,
and then switch the mouse over to the left hand and try desperately to close it.
All right, so what you know about Damocles Ravenborn, what you know about Red Court vampires is that their saliva is a narcotic. And if they bite you or if their saliva gets into you, it makes you so high that you're just absolutely not useful. So a lot of times he'll lick his sword, like when he's pretending to be a tough guy, so that's how he'll get it into you, because he carries that katana everywhere he goes. So he's the ultimate poser, and he's just a dork, but he's still dangerous. I mean, he's still a vampire of the Red Court, and he's got probably half a dozen other vampires in his gang. He leads this, gang of about a half dozen of them, and they're every one of them is a perfect fit for a gang led by Damocles Ravenborn. We'll say it that way, right? So that's what you know about him. Now, let's see, you'll find that he generally, his haunt is generally, where is that area? Well, you don't know where he lives.
So we're going to have to find someone who knows.
It's got to be somewhat close by with the frequency at which he shows up at neutral grounds. But
we don't know. He could just drive hundreds of miles out of his way.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a crotch rocket motorcycle, and it goes really fast. And, they're not immortal, but it's really hard to kill him. So he could drive pretty much as fast as he wants. And if he gets in an accident, it'd probably be fine.
Is there anyone that we might know at neutral grounds that tolerates him enough that they might know where he is?
Yeah, of all the people that you know in the neutral grounds club, the only one that has ever tolerated him is Eric McCullough and Diane. Diane does it in a he's just a poor intellectually challenged person, so don't be mean to him. But Eric has been downright friendly with him on occasion.
Would any of us potentially know any other haunts that are like neutral grounds? Is there a skill for that we could give ourselves, or?
Well, you would gather information.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the contact skill. I guess I'd be like, well, I mean, we can do what I was doing a little bit ago. I know a few people in the neighborhood who might know where he's been, where he goes. You guys might too.
I almost say we just start blasting piss poor club music and see if he shows up.
I know just the song.
Yeah, I mean, the only place that you guys know where you can reliably find Damocles is neutral ground.
He might not know what's happened yet. We could hang around, but the cop cars might...
Well, who's going to run the place if Diane's not there? I think you're going to have a bunch of people just... I mean, yeah, you do got a point, though. I mean, what time does he usually come in? You guys remember?
Man,
Don't really pay much attention to that.
It's not like he's got a job, so...
Just whenever I happen
He
to be
would
there,
be,
I know that much.
He would be an early bird, wouldn't he? Have to be different than the other vampires. We might have already missed our window.
Yeah, sunlight doesn't cause a problem for red and white court vampires. So they're active at any time of the day.
All right, let's start working contacts, I guess.
So how do the aspects work in that regard, Brandon?
For contacts?
Like, for skills, I guess? Can
Well-
you use them with skills?
Make an argument, right? And it can give you a bonus to your skill. So if you're looking at a skill you have and you say, I have this aspect and this is how I think it could help or hinder, because remember, you can earn a fate point by hindering yourself with your aspects. And I'm supposed to be doing that more often too, you guys, but I keep forgetting. Let me get...
I'm an apprentice wizard. Do I know any of the other wizards who might be able to point me in the right direction? Or am I kept sequestered?
No, you're not sequestered, but you could use that to give yourself a bonus to your gather information for your contact skill.
All right.
And you might be able to get a hold of another wizard or another apprentice, although it's a great big world and there's not an awful lot of wizards. So, you know.
Been meaning to ask you, Zach, what's the difference between a wizard and a sorcerer?
A sorcerer is the name that they give to illegal
Wizards?
people who use magic against the law, right? So a sorcerer is, and when the wardens are looking for you, there's only one reason, right? Because they don't have like different levels of punishment. So
You broke the law.
So if they're looking for someone and they're calling them a sorcerer, this is a person who's broken one of the 7 laws or is really treading close, and they might give them a warning.
Okay.
But generally they don't do that. Sean, what are your aspects?
I haven't gotten 7 of them down yet, but I took... Because I've got my high concept, which is the metalhead werewolf. Trouble was snarl. Neutral grounds regular was the other aspect I started with. And then I put down hold my beer, and I know a guy is another one. Because I'd imagine that one more is like equipment type contact, I guess, But I think that it could work in this case.
You can use it, yeah. Any way you can make an argument that I'll accept. That's the fun of this game, is try to make an argument with it. And if it's nonsense, then I'll say that. But if you can work it, but think of some more as we play.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of last 2.
Martin, what
it's
are
just
yours?
got to flesh out the character a little more.
So I got the White Knight one, the Speak First, Think Later, always remembers a face. I don't like to be handed things. I just can't let it go. And Bad Knee, real ex-detectives can't chase down the perp. Also, I'm thinking about street food preferred. So like, well, yeah, let's get out there. I know a good hot dog stand.
What was the one you said after just can't let it go?
Bad Knee. Specifically, I just, in a chase, wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
You guys get up.
Okay, so
Go, Wolf Boy.
White Knight, speak first, think later, always remembers the face, don't like to be handed things, just can't let it go, and Bad Knee.
Yeah.
And what was your high concept?
High concept is retired psychic detective.
Did you have a trouble?
I'm too old for this. Maybe Bad Knee kind of overlaps with that, but...
Okay, Zach?
From high aspect down, apprentice wizard. No idea how much I don't know is my trouble. Neutral grounds regular. Arrogant. Chip on my shoulder. I don't like being babied or being told how much I don't know. And got my buddy's back, Sean.
Okay. All right. So anyway, yeah, you guys wanted to try and gather some information through your contacts. Let's go ahead and make some rolls then. What would you specifically be looking for, Zach?
I'd be looking for a wizard that might know stomping grounds of red courts, preferably red courts that might be ostracized or on the outs.
Okay.
I'm going to give myself... What is gather information? Is it contacts or is it gather information?
Contacts.
Contacts. It's a trapping of contacts.
Okay. I'll give myself contacts at average. What? But I was going to go through my wizard, so
All right. So what did you end up with?
What's the wizard aspect or wizard apprentice give me? Was it 2? Was what you're saying?
Yes.
So 2.
So fair.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what were you trying to learn more, or were you trying to learn anything, Martin?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to do kind of a repeat just for a different person. I suppose I'm networking with other neutral grounds regulars that might know where Damocles could be.
Okay.
So I'll be like, hey, sorry to bother you again. You know, I'm actually looking for Damocles. Right?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Okay.
Things
All right.
that no one says.
Yeah.
All right. Make your roll.
Got -1, so I got a fair roll.
All right. And were you going to try anything, Zach?
So you mean Sean?
Sean, I mean, sorry.
Yeah, I would say that aspect is should give me a bonus because I'm so well known in many underground communities and some not so underground as well, though. But I just don't know what it's supposed to give you.
You know where all the posers hang out?
I know where everybody hangs out, and if not, then I know someone who does.
Well, you're talking about I know a guy?
Yeah.
Well, you know, here's you could do that, or you could even do the metalhead. Because what you know about Damocles is, in keeping with his trench coat and katana and his shades, he likes, you know, that electronic music, right? So you could play that, say, well, I know these type of people over there listen to that, and these are some clubs that, you know, that play that kind of music that he might frequent. So you could use that aspect to give yourself a +2.
Oh, I got a 0. So do I just use my skill then, I guess? So it'd be 0.
Yeah.
So there's no bonus to it. I just have a +3 then.
Okay. So what is your contact skill?
It's a 1 without
Okay.
the modifier.
All right. So then you would have had a good result. Okay. All right. So you guys are out, you know, one of you can use the phone here for this information, but the rest of you are going to have to go out and find some other way to gather this information, right? So how do you guys want to do that?
No, I'll take to the street.
Okay.
Figure wizards probably don't have phones all over the place anyway. So
Yeah, I
Alright.
figure with
Yes.
mine, I'd probably need to go visit some clubs and talk to people.
Okay.
Yeah, first I was going to go to Crazy John's because they got a good cheesesteak because
yeah,
it's dinner time.
That's true. Yeah.
Got to keep your energy up, young men.
Yeah.
And you guys can come along if you want. I'll buy you one.
I'm an athlete. I'm here on scholarship, man.
Right. If you're hungry. But seen a few of the regulars down there, so I'll start there.
Okay. All right. So, Zach, you're not able to like get in touch with anybody that can give you any information that you're looking for on other neutral grounds type places in Baltimore at this time of the day anyway. Like for whatever reason, you know, people that you try and talk to aren't home, or, you know, you just missed them, that sort of thing. And Sean, you find out that you know, a couple people you talk to might have seen a guy that looks like that at some underground clubs that pop up close to Fort McHenry in that area of town. It's like an old historical fort, but it's a section of town, and some people might have seen somebody, but they can't be certain that it's the person you're looking for. And a dude who wears a trench coat and carries around a katana on a crotch rocket is not exactly uncommon for, you know, people in that scene, but you do get information that somewhere around Fort McHenry they have underground clubs pop up that play that kind of music and cater to that kind of clientele.
Okay.
And Martin, you don't even start looking for information. As a matter of fact, you go to that place to get some dinner, and it's just 3 blocks away, and so 1 block away from neutral grounds, and you just see as you're finishing up Damocles walking down the sidewalk headed towards neutral grounds.
Okay. Can I have a pair of cheesesteaks sandwiches?
Yeah.
All right. I'll wave at him and like, hey.
No, he doesn't see. Like you're like in there
Do I
getting
wanna
your sandwiches. He's like across the street and he's turning a corner, but you spot him.
Well, yeah. I'll follow him eating my cheesesteaks.
Did you pay before leaving? Because I like to think you didn't.
It's like a TV show.
Yeah, you know I'm good for it.
I guess I did pay because we actually said goodbye on the phone call. So this is as real as it gets. So yeah, I'll pay quickly and then head out on the street. And I'll try to shadow him, but it was not my strong suit. I have it at fair, like whatever the stealth skill will be. I was more of the bulldog detective, not the cloak and dagger style. So,
Okay.
Got that Dick Tracy nose.
it's always. What skill is that going to be? Let me try to find where the skills are. Here we are. Probably deceit,
Stealth. Yeah.
Yep. So shadowing. Variant of skulking.
Yeah. You'd use stealth for shadowing. And it'd be resisted by his alertness.
Great. Okay. -1, so it comes in at average for me.
Okay.
Call this the old. I'm trying to think of something witty for eating and sneaky at the same time.
All right. So you take off following him, and you come around the corner just as he's coming up to the front of neutral grounds. And he's standing on the sidewalk because the little stairs that lead down, they've got the police line and there's no lights. So he's standing there looking. And so as you approach, he does notice you, but he doesn't like react. He just sort of, nods at you and says, "What happened here?"
I'd be chewing for a minute. He's like, I don't know. Do you know?
No.
I was
got here.
mainly like looking at his reaction when he saw the place.
Yeah. I mean, it looked to you like he didn't expect to see that. And he doesn't know what's going on there. So, yeah. So, do you know what happened?
Yeah, I heard it was shooting or something. I've been trying to track down Diane for the last few hours, but...
I can smell blood.
So shooting. Damn it, please.
Is Diane okay?
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out. I talked to some of my buddies and, what was their names? I didn't know them well. A couple of regulars or new-timers, something like that, right? Trying to figure out where I wrote it down, Brandon.
Sean and Zach, or are you talking about the workers?
The 2 people that were killed.
Yeah, so that was, I forgot their names too.
Anybody have a note?
Tom and Alicia.
Yeah.
Tom and Alicia.
Yeah.
And they're dead?
Seems so.
Well, who would... And then you can see this look come on his face, right? Like he just thought of something. And he's like...
Seems like you got an idea.
Eric. It had to have been Eric.
I'm inclined to agree with you, but I don't have much of a reason to think that. Why do you think that?
Well, I mean, Diane's always here that time of day. You didn't find her in there. He must have taken her. Everybody knows he didn't take that breakup well. He didn't accept that breakup. And he's a loony anyways.
I'm enjoying this assessment.
Well, he was crazy to begin with, but it's even worse because he hangs out right on top of the ley line and it's frying his brain.
Yeah, that would happen, wouldn't it?
Bet any kind of money. That's where you're going to find Diane, is right at his house.
Right on the ley line, you say, huh?
Well, that's what he said. He says he found a ley line and that's where he's been hanging out, and it's going to give him, ultimate power.
And he bragged about this to you?
Yeah.
And he said where it was?
No.
Oh.
No, but I know where he lives. I wouldn't imagine it's too far from where he lives.
Where exactly does he live?
He said it.
Oh, he lives at, he gives you the address.
What do we...
Hasn't he invited... you over?
No, I don't.
He invited me over like the first time he met me. He was talking about how powerful he is. And
So the place that he addressed that he gave, do I know what that is from like my understanding of Baltimore? Like, is this an apartment or house or something like that?
yeah, that address that he gives you is, where is that? In an area of town known as the East Greens. And it's a bit bad. I mean, it's Baltimore,
Right.
so the whole town is a bad part of town, but it's a bad part of town.
Yeah. Well, I'll kind of give off a low whistle and be like, yeah, I guess that tracks. But you went over to his place?
I mean, it was months ago.
What'd you say? He's up on the 3rd floor?
No, he's got a whole house,
Oh.
a whole abandoned house. Most of it's fallen down, but
How long they been broken up now?
well, I don't like a week, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. It was the last time he came in making a scene. And I asked Diane if she wanted me to take care of him because I could, no problem. You know.
Yeah. Well, Diane's a sweetheart, so
But
you
she
know,
wouldn't
she said
let me,
no.
so I said her,
It's
that's going to cause her trouble one of these days.
a shame you were chained in your abilities.
She takes pity. Yeah. I honestly almost just did it. Honestly, I almost just did it anyway.
Would have been better if you had.
It turns out.
If you're right about him.
So the East Greens is like, it was like a projects
Okay.
area. And so it's like a whole giant Soviet block of 2-story apartments, and gangs are all that live there now, and
I have a gun.
drug dealers and things like that. Like nobody even remembers what the actual housing complex was named. Now, the people that live there just call it the East Green, even though there's no green. And what also about the East Green is that nothing happens there without the permission of a guy named Wallace Lizard Gibbs is the leader of the gang that controls the whole place.
Okay.
It's just a drug gang. It's not a
spooky gang.
not as far as you know.
Okay.
But that's what you know about the East Green, and apparently, Damocles says that Eric's got a place over there.
Well, I guess I better go check it out. Hey, it would be real helpful if you figured out some more about this ley line for me. You've already been a real help, Damocles. You want a cheesesteak?
No,
I got 2.
thank you.
Or I shouldn't eat 2. Pat my belly.
So like his expression, it's like it suddenly reverts to his natural haughty expression. He's like, the things I could tell you about ley lines are beyond your understanding anyway.
Right.
And I have to go.
Okay.
And I don't eat cheesesteak.
So he
I'm tied on blood of virgins.
turns with a flourish of his trench coat
All right.
and stalks down the...
He has to slam his katana back in the sheath, even though he never brought it out.
Yeah.
You're lucky I only bore half an inch of steel that time.
He probably did pull it out a little bit when he was talking about threatening
He's like,
to
good
kill,
luck.
to handle Eric.
Good luck helping Diane. She got herself into this trouble, and you're wasting your time on her.
Well,
But
Commonplace
then he
amongst humans.
stalks off,
tool.
Well, you can see as he goes that like he's head forward and he's right down the center of the sidewalk, and he's gonna try, like there's other people coming, but at the last second he veers off to the side. It's like,
Dang it. Well, I'll munch on my other cheesesteak then. I'm happy that I didn't have to give it away.
A contemplative munch on the cheesesteak.
Already I've forgotten what Brandon called that neighborhood because I didn't write it down.
the East Green.
East Green, there we go.
Yeah, and you got, I want to say Eddie the Lizard. It's close enough. Gang members don't care if you get their names wrong.
Well, I'll call that enough for now. And what are we just going back to your place, Sean, after we're done working our contacts?
Yeah, I figure it's unless there's neutral grounds that you guys want to meet up at.
Not anymore.
They've ruined that side of this life for me.
Yeah, so with that information, I'll make my way back to his place and try to avoid,
Okay.
what's his name? Robbie, was it?
Yeah. Well, he's passed out now on a chair in the living room.
Good night, sweet
He's
prince.
got like a cigarette's burned all the way down, and he's just snoring in the chair there.
I'll take a piece of notebook paper and write the name of my cousin on it. He's a plumber. You know, might be good in for him.
Yeah.
Tell him Martin sent you.
Yeah, give you a
Okay.
job.
All right. Yeah. So you guys all meet back up there, and you can share what you learned with each other.
Absolutely nothing. Libraries all close at dusk here.
What is with that? Nobody reads at night? I don't understand. Sean?
I found got some info on some clubs that he might be at. Maybe we can go check them out.
Yeah, sounds good. I ran into our friend Damocles.
Which I believe is who we were looking
That's
for.
who
that's
we're
what-
looking for.
Why didn't you
I just wanted to
Why
let you
didn't you
guys
say
say
that?
what. I just wanted you guys to say nothing much.
I was
Yeah.
always looking to be the big shot here,
Can't help it. Ego never really goes away.
huh? So what
No
did he
matter how old
say?
you
Does
get.
he know Diane's new boyfriend?
Well, I laid out for you. I followed him up to neutral grounds, and he seemed as surprised as anyone what happened there. So I don't think he's, not that or he's a better actor than any of us would assume he would be. But
No. I refuse.
that was my take too. But he had the inkling that Eric was behind all this, the shooting, missing Diane, and he said he lives over at the place I already forget, but I wrote it down. East Green, neighborhood in East Green. Bad spot, if I remember right. Probably still is. And this might be interesting to you, Zach. He said that Eric's been bragging about he found a ley line. You know what that means? I don't know much about that.
Lore? Is that okay?
Yeah, you don't need a roll. You know what a ley line is.
Oh, any bits of information I could tell my psychic friend here?
Yeah, I mean, you would just tell him.
Heightens power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
throughout the world, there's.
Damocles made it sound like it wasn't good to be hanging out on them for protracted periods of time, and apparently Eric's been doing just that.
Well, now that's something you could roll your lore for.
Okay. 3. So good.
So they can be dangerous because they enhance your magical power, and sometimes they can enhance it more than you're able to handle. So it can be dangerous to those nearby, yourself, or mentally, psychically, it can be dangerous.
Oh,
But it does, if you're tapped into one, it does make all of your magic much stronger.
okay. Oh, there's dangers with anything that enhances you. That goes for you too. Be careful. But us just visiting there probably shouldn't be too bad.
Well, I wasn't sure if it was on his place. Sounded like he wouldn't give up the goods to Damocles when Damocles asked him where this ley line might be. So I'm not sure if it's where he lives or not. I asked Damocles if he could maybe figure that out for us, but all at once he got back to his uppity self. I think he was taken off guard for a moment with neutral grounds, and there was an actual person underneath all that trench coat, what have you. Maybe.
Looks like you're still a softie in your old age.
I guess so.
Ley lines, I'm going to kind of ad lib here and go with what I tried to find research a long time ago. It's kind of like dousing for a well. Sometimes you just luck on one. It's not like you can really map them out. There are powerful ones that are kind of more solidified, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, okay.
But in any case, we could take a look at his apartment. Apparently he is squatting in an abandoned house, but could be some trouble going there. King territory. I don't.
It's Baltimore.
Yeah. I didn't work that part of the department, so I cleaned up enough of them, but
Well, I'm sure Sean knows him.
Sean's good.
Let's see. We might as well head over there. Let's check it out.
Drug Kingpin needs a good baseline.
So,
when they're out there
I'm sure
doing-
we'll be all right.
Mhm.
Well, who do you think is like keeping the drug kingpin in business?
This house that you live in, Sean.
Yeah. Well, namely just the bassist and the drummer.
You just need to get yourself a red court vampire on tap. You can have him lick people.
Dude, you know he's going around like roofing the rims of cups at clubs.
Probably.
Damn freak.
Yeah, well, I can't disagree with that, Sean, and I got nothing better to do. So why don't we go check it out?
'Cause I'm up for it.
You got a car? A van?
I'm sure somebody here has a ride we can take, right?
How would we determine that?
Take the band
Yeah,
van?
we just grab some keys. That's fine.
Oh, you know what? I could make that an aspect.
Has a car?
Yeah, like I'm the one with the car.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay.
You got like a really expensive car.
No,
It's a college kid car.
right.
if he wants a car and he wants it to be running more than 75% of the time.
Oh, right. He's got to go to like
It's got to
mostly
be a real
mechanical.
old one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So manual transmission,
Yeah.
no stereo, manual windows, that sort of thing.
Just got a turntable in there.
Yeah, let's go with like a 1970s Volkswagen
Perfect.
or something.
Well, that's actually what Dresden's car was an
Oh.
old Volkswagen Bug.
Yeah, go with it. That way I can, when we...
Oh man, I wasn't thinking the right one. The family car, the ones that are like a
Station wagon.
station wagon. Yeah, like
the
a
wood panel.
yeah,
An old Ford.
yeah. And it's been like none of the wheels match. One of the bumpers are gone, and the radio was boosted decades ago.
I appreciate it, or Martin does. I'll be like, wow, that's a beaut.
Thanks.
But with no sarcasm or anything. This takes me back. That's what
Gotta
I drove
look
in high
over.
school, which might be its own sort of, yeah, where you just kind of...
Start singing some CCR or something.
Okay. So you guys want to get in there and drive over to
Yep,
East Green?
East Greens. We'll just drive up to the gang and be like, we mean you no harm. We've come to pay our dues and we just want to look.
But
At
as
this
we pull
apartment.
up, it's gonna do like 3 backfires. That's
That does it. They all clear out anyway, right?
Okay. All right. So you guys
Brandon,
go.
I'm going to take another aspect is who needs backup.
Okay.
Does that mean we can't call for help if we're around you?
I
So who
mean, I
needs
think it just means, well, and I almost wonder if that's a double with the, or maybe I should just change the hold my beer one, because that was like, I'll always take stupid or reckless actions, right?
Oh, okay. You're our berserker werewolf.
And Moore just doesn't think about it before he does it.
charge in,
Mhm.
So maybe
just like he
that's,
did back at the.
maybe that's too close to each other. Do you think?
That's what saved my butt, because you just charged in and attacked a ghoul.
Oh, do you have those chips?
Oh, right.
Okay. So you will pile into the car, the old station wagon, and off you go to the East Green, where Martin has been given an address for Eric McCullough for a place that he lives out there from Damocles Ravenborn. So it's nighttime now, and you know that you're getting into the neighborhood when there's no more street lamps,
Yeah.
right? And you're absolutely certain when you're getting into the neighborhood when there's no more road signs, right? Because the gangs, they'll cut the road signs, the street signs off, so the cops don't know where to go, And so, but you manage to navigate your way there. The East Green is run by a drug lord by the name of Wallace Gibbs. the lizard people call him, and you don't see any activity as you get into the neighborhood, but you can see all of the the 2-story housing, the housing project there, and so you can see all of the accoutrements of such a place. Rusted out remains of cars that used to have parts but are now just the rusted out frames sitting with the tires gone and the engine gone. Garbage everywhere, overgrown weeds, cracked sidewalks. A lot of the houses you see at first they're clearly not livable. But as you get further in, you start seeing people out and about. People come here to buy drugs. And so you can see people who didn't bother to wait after they bought them to start using them. So as you roll through, and you gotta go kind of slow because there's lots of obstacles in the road. You're sort of weaving around, obstacles, and there's, trash fires everywhere. And, you can see people in various states of, their whatever individual drug they're using. But you finally come to the house that Damocles told you belongs to Eric. And you'd have to park about a half a block away because there's just nowhere else to park. But you can see it down the road there, the one that he said belongs to Eric. And obviously all of the windows are covered. A lot of them are covered from the outside, like boarded over. But there is one that is near the front of it that's not covered well enough to keep you from being able to see a little bit of light coming out from the inside there. So, there you are.
Looks like somebody's home.
Do we knock or we just go in? I don't know how to do this.
Yeah, we usually don't knock when I go in, but if he's got something to do with it.
Are there any sort of trap spells or stuff that he might use to ward or deter people?
Mm-hmm.
Can I rattle some of those off for my fellow people?
There are wards that people can use.
Yeah.
And they're capable of different things.
Can I spot those? How would I go about that if I can?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So let's take a look at that.
Meanwhile, Sean's already dove through the window.
All right. So let's look.
Don't need a pack. I'm the lone wolf.
I have to see where I'm going to find this here.
So maybe mystic perception.
Yeah.
Part of lore. I don't know. So yeah, I'll warn them. Be like, you could have the place warded, and that could mean anything as far as what the outcomes of those are. So be careful.
Anything?
Anything.
Like acid?
Oh yeah.
Well, didn't have to worry about that so much back in the day. Guess with the three of us, I don't have a real bright idea for getting in here. So maybe the old knock at the door approach is the best one. If he bolts immediately, we know something.
We blast him.
That's what it'll have to be because I'm too old to be running after anybody.
I think technically I can change gravity on him, slam him to the ground.
Awesome. What do you think, Sean?
I think we just
Might
go
also
in.
crush him.
Fine.
You don't
I
want to
guess
knock?
it's polite to knock. We should just.
This is a nice neighborhood.
We could knock. You could go in.
Let's go. I'll start.
Well,
walking
what do we got
towards
here?
the
Let's
door.
see. Hold up, Sean.
He's already started.
We're committed. By the way, Zach, I was surprised with how well your car blended in the neighborhood. It's like almost couldn't see it once we got out of it. I love that car, by the way. Reminds me of being a kid. Anyhow.
Thank you. It's a graduation present.
If you're ever looking to get rid of it,
Unfortunately, I'm kind of stuck with it.
I understand. They didn't pay me a whole lot as a detective, so it's in my price range. So Sean's already going up to the door. You just gonna bust in?
I'm gonna knock. You guys suggested knock.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good plan. I'll watch Zach do the wizard thing of taking the Casimir thing of taking steps back. I'll join him.
It's her tradition.
Across time and space, all wizards step
Okay,
back.
here we go.
My wizard blood sings to me. The door is trapped.
Okay. I think I'm on the right track here.
This area have a fenced-in backyard or a broken fenced-in backyard?
No.
I guess that could be the other thing is I could check to see if there is a ley line or if there's one obvious. I don't know how I'd go about that. That could take longer, actually. Because I don't know if you got to tap into them or not to detect them.
Yeah, so evocation would counterspell a ward,
Okay.
but you first got to detect it.
And so detecting would be mystic perception. Exposure to arcane lore leads to heightened awareness of supernatural. In certain circumstances, you can substitute lore for alertness to pick up on supernatural details about a scene. Right? Or is there something else?
So figuring out how much magic you need to do it
Mm.
would be an assessment action, which is a free. Okay, so let me try. Got to jump all around here because they don't. Okay. All right. Arcane investigation. Yeah, so so basically you would have to detect that the ward's there, and then you've got to do an assessment to determine how much power you need to use to unravel it, because if you use too much or too little, it could be bad,
Okay.
right? So in order to detect it, then I guess you would use that. What was that skill you were just talking about?
Lore. Mystic
Lore.
perception is like it makes it into like arcane investigation. And then I get a +1 from the sight, arcane senses, when using lore as an investigation or a alertness skill.
Yeah.
All right, so do you want me to roll that?
Yeah, roll it at a time in case there's anything to use it on.
2, 3. Fantastic. I got a 6 total.
Okay. Awesome. All right.
So yeah.
Okay. So back at it then. You guys are just going to walk right in, or what were you doing?
You go
Knocking.
knock on the door.
Sean is knocking on the door. So Zach and I are standing back a little bit so as not to overwhelm him.
Because this
All right,
guy's
so
name was Eric, right? And he
Yeah.
was he was Diane's current boyfriend, ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, ex-boyfriend
Oh.
that didn't take it well.
I almost wonder if I should knock.
All right. So as you're walking, though, before you get to his door, as you're walking by, there's a few people standing out, stumbling around. And, a couple of them are like, hey, you guys got any change? Got any money? Help me out.
You know what? I'll start talking to him. Yeah, I got some change for you, buddy. And I'll use my rapport,
Okay.
start asking questions, like, hey, if my buddy Eric's home? I'll give him I'll give him $1. Just say it's all I got. College student, you know how it is. Broke even there, so good.
Okay. And he's like, hey, thanks, man. No, I don't. I mean, I've seen him, but I don't know him. He's never given me any change.
He bring his girlfriend over recently?
I don't know.
I'll describe Diane.
No, I don't.
Hey, see her?
He had a friend over, not a girl though.
I'll describe Damocles.
Oh no.
Nah, not
No.
that weirdo.
Just a regular type dude.
Okay.
You know.
Hey, man.
How regular?
Oh,
You know, just normal. Just a normal type dude.
Like you and me. I'll clap him on the shoulder. Thanks, man. Have a good night.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, God bless.
Yeah, so then he takes off down the street further into the neighborhood, and then
Hey, there's an idiot giving out money here.
It's warm.
yeah, so and so you get up to the door, and then what was it? Sean was going to knock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Sean, you knock on the door, but there's no answer.
Are there any lights you can see through the window?
I mean, you can see a little bit of light coming out, but you can't, it's just like a little tiny corner of the tin foil doesn't quite cover the edge of the window, so you can't, you can't really see inside.
I do, what would that be, listen? What's the appropriate, or would I use investigate to just listen?
Alertness?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oof, that's terrible. Terrible roll. My skill is a 5, and after the roll, so do I roll, I add the roll to the skill, right?
Or subtract, yeah.
Or, yeah, luckily there's only 4 dice there, because I got a 1 when I rolled it, so it would be
so
a
that
6.
because you're doing it in fantasy grounds, that calculates it for you.
Oh, okay, so a 1.
So you got a 1, yeah. So you don't hear anything. And it'd be hard to hear anything anyways. It's a really noisy neighborhood. There's people yelling and
Dogs
partying,
barking.
and there's dogs barking, planes flying overhead. So you're not hearing anything, but you do know no one's coming to the door.
Pop, pop, pop. Ah,
I'll
fireworks. Odd this time of year.
I'll try the handle, see if it's unlocked.
It is locked.
I'll take 3 steps back.
Yeah. I'll try to pick it
Okay.
as 0.
Yeah, so you're just not able to make any headway on that.
Well,
And then let's have alertness from you two.
mediocre.
Okay.
Great.
All right. So basically what's happening here is Sean's trying to pick the lock, and so you two are standing with your backs to him, facing out, keeping an eye on things.
I think I'm starting to get kind of nervous, though.
Yeah, well, you do notice, what you notice, Zach, is that an awful lot of people are going about their normal drug addict, drug-seeking business, but a lot of them do seem to spend a lot of time looking at you guys.
Hey, you notice that people are like really looking at us, like they're watching us, Martin.
Well, they probably take us for cops, but that's what I'm noticing too, mainly.
I think you're noticing
other stuff.
Oh, okay.
So he says that to you, but you can hear the sound of Sean picking at this lock and not making any headway. But from inside the house, you do hear some thumps.
Like up or downstairs, or
downstairs. Like not too far inside the door, you're hearing like,
Hey, Sean, hold up. Somebody's coming.
No, it's not it's not.
So, there is
the
somebody
sound's
in there.
staying where it is. It's just,
Like someone
someone
banging on a
stomping,
wall
maybe.
or a door or something.
something like that. Yeah.
oh, like a cry for help, Martin.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Time for you to dive through a window,
Hey,
cheesesteak and
I haven't
6-shooter in hand.
done it in a few years, Sean, but maybe you just give that door a kick right there, and I'll point to how we used to do it.
But I'd do it. I'd show you how to do it, but my
I'm
knee.
too old for it these days.
All right. I'll kind of
We need
put
to get
my
off the
tools
street, and I
away
think
and-
there's somebody in there.
and try to give it the old boot.
Bust out your other lock-picking device.
Werewolf stomp.
Yeah. So what you would need?
Would it be a might? Is that the skill?
These places probably the only thing standing if the whole thing came down is the front door.
Might, breaking things, exerting force, lifting things, wrestling.
Yeah. Might.
could use performance and just appreciate it for the artistic value so hard it crumbles.
Set up an amp rig, like so big that when he slap of the bass, man, it's just whole thing comes off.
Well, the first two slaps, it kind of shakes, and then when he pops the octave, then he goes off into some Primus.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to work either.
Name is Mud.
There's no way in. No way into this place.
It can't be that hard.
The
No.
Castle of East Green.
It's not. You're able to kick it open, Sean, because the locks are good, but the wood isn't, so it sort of shatters and flies in. Now, another aspect of the world of the Dresden Files that I didn't talk about last time, that I'll remind Zach specifically of, is the importance of thresholds. In this universe, thresholds, like somebody's door, there's a power to them.
Okay.
Like, that's why vampires
Seek to be
have to be
welcomed.
invited in,
Yeah.
right? And then also, people who aren't invited in, like, they can still go in, but their power is lessened to an extreme amount if they go in without being invited. That's just something that's common knowledge to you.
Okay.
So it's something you're aware of, right? Like,
So if there's no threshold there, say I was to explode the entire front of the house, does it still count?
it does.
It's a
Change
spiritual.
the threshold.
Yeah. The magic in the Dresden verse is smart enough to get around any rules of lawyering. So,
Well,
But
this
that's the
door
concept.
didn't seem that special.
also, something that I didn't mention last time that I'll mention this time with your fate points. From time to time, I may offer a fate point to one of you without saying anything. When I do that, that lets you know that I intend to use one of your aspects
Okay, against us.
against you.
All right.
And what that's called is compelling an aspect. That means I'm intending to compel an aspect. Now, you don't have to take it, the fate point, and if you don't take it, then we don't
Compel the aspect.
compel the aspect, but
Yeah.
you need to think about that because that's how you earn fate points, and you might need the fate point,
That's true.
right?
Hmm.
But sometimes I might not give you a choice. Anyway,
Can I have 4?
yeah, so the door goes sailing into the front area there where there's a staircase that would lead up to the second floor, and off to the right would be like a kitchen or whatever. And from where you're at, you can see off to the left is where the light is. There's one lamp over in the corner, and in the center of that room, which holds no other furniture, is a wooden chair with a man tied to it, and he's bound and gagged, and you can see right away that thumping you heard was him trying to move that chair, but he's not having any success with it.
Gotta pull my gun on him nonetheless.
Hands up!
Freeze, bozo.
It doesn't look
Put him
like
where I can
Diane.
see him. Stop
Put your
resisting.
hands up now.
He's got a knife.
Turned out it was a rope
He was also
tied around his body and not a knife in his hand.
he was also covered in crack cocaine.
Yeah, sprinkle some crack on him.
So while they go rushing in, sitting back, I'll inform them that
Thresholds mean something in this world.
unlike our modern constitution, I do not want to enter this place without being invited. So what's it? Is it just like a higher threshold difficulty?
Yeah, it
Okay.
just
No.
I, as a detective, find this notion preposterous.
What are you doing standing out there? Get in here.
My power increases when I come in uninvited. Well, yeah, I'll follow Sean in.
okay.
No, I'm heading in.
So when you head in, you don't feel that normal resistance that you normally would feel.
Okay.
And so what that can mean to you is that because that power of a threshold, it's not automatic. So
Takes
if a
time.
person hasn't lived there long enough, it won't build up. And when it comes to like, wizards, there's things they can do to increase that power, but you're not feeling that here. That there's no blockage at the threshold there.
All right. And he's supposed to have been here a couple months?
I mean, that's what Damocles said.
Would that be more than enough time for him, especially if he was trying to make it? I mean, it's a ley line. You would try to fortify it down, supposedly, right?
If there were one here, yeah. If
Almost-
Damocles was telling the truth.
I almost wonder if something else is wrong here, Martin.
We're going to find out. Anybody recognize this guy? What did he do once we came in?
He got shot by you.
What did he do after the thing that needs to go unstated? I mean, this is just protocol.
His eyes got all wide and hopeful, and you recognize him right away as Frank Williams,
The new boyfriend.
the new boyfriend.
Oh, that figures. It's just Frank Williams. Guys,
Leave him tied up.
straight as they come.
Turn around and leave.
Is he gagged and tied?
Oh yeah.
We should have.
So I'll go and take his gag out of his mouth. Ask him where's Diane
So now-
at?
But no, this is let's hang on a second, because this is where you would notice. So do your lore, your
2 plus 1 from superb +5 total.
okay. So now you can see that a ward has been placed in that room.
Oh, that room's warded. No, don't go.
So we'll have to have you take that ward apart. So
It's the acid ward.
After I responded to that last time, I wanted to suddenly go like no, this isn't D&D. No
That
acid
would have been a
ward.
good answer.
Yeah, that's what,
Urban fantasy setting.
what type of monster would use acid?
Wizards.
They've been brain fried by a ley line.
Is that something we know about Eric? Is he involved with all that? I don't remember any mention of it, just him being the ex-boyfriend.
now there were rumors.
And being a hypnotist.
Yeah, there were rumors that he was magically active, but unlike Damocles, he never
I showed it off.
announced it to anybody.
If you really think about it, though, that would be the best course of action for a vampire to take if they wanted to like revel in it, because no one's going to believe that idiot's a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be walking around hiding under like a blanket in the back of a truck or something like that, saying he's avoiding the sun. Everyone's going to go, oh, it's that weirdo again.
Yeah.
Damocles Raven, whatever. And then, like 10 years later, when he's found with like half a dozen corpses in a crawl space,
Mhm.
they're going to like, I knew it all along.
Yeah. All right. So figure out how you take apart.
But he had to like chloroform and abduct them. He could never get a glamour to work for us. They were all drugged and just drugged back to his place like a regular.
Yeah. Even his saliva didn't work. It's just roofies.
You really are the worst.
I like to
vampire,
think like that's part of the reason like they're not getting caught is because the saliva actually does just come back as rohypnol when they search for it. Get to use the word abode so rarely, but now that I'm a wizard, I can use it as much as I want.
We entered the foreboding abode.
Well,
No, that's not right. We'll have to
it
change foreboding.
lacked the threshold that would mark a wizard's abode.
See,
We found Frank. Diane is some sort of perhaps merwoman, siren, and all of her boyfriends are in the basement of this house. And Eric was trying to he barely escaped. No one believed him because everyone loves Diane.
Yeah.
And he was trying to scare Frank away because he's still probably ensorcelled by her siren song.
Yeah. I think you're onto it.
Martin says, drawing a beat on. No one talks about my girl that way.
Damn it, Diane, I thought you were one of the good ones. Why'd you have to go and break my heart?
But before it fades to credits, we see that she was the one with the gun.
Right. Diane, no.
Should have just minded your own business, gumshoe. Turns into Joe Pesci at the end of Goodfellas.
Okay. So,
You know how there are like fan
damn, this is
edits
so
or
stupid.
fan anything, fan subs, fan remakes and stuff like that. They need that, or the fan community needs to get in on that for these horribly designed rule books and essentially make just what you need to know for any given topic condensed in one page.
Well, I know they've definitely done that for, say, like Shadowrun.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, like, this is, I don't even know where to freaking start in this book. So I just don't even try. Like, that's the beauty of being, like, the player in a
Right.
one shot.
Well, the frustrating thing is that I saw it earlier where it talked about taking apart a ward, and now I can't find it.
Oh, yeah. That's the Shadowrun problem. I know it was supposed to be in that section.
Well,
Then you find it when you're done, and then...
It's part of why I like opening up these PDFs in a browser is I just open the PDF once and then I duplicate it multiple tabs. And then as I find something I need, I just then go to a different tab and
Mhm.
continue searching for other stuff that way.
Seems like Magic is, for whatever reason, very difficult for most publishers to lay out how to do it well. It's usually always the most complicated system in a game.
Well, it's because it breaks
Right.
all the established rules.
pre-established rules.
And for the most part, the cost is cheaper as well. Like D&D, you just have to have the right components, so there might be gold or silver cost depending on the spell. But for the most part, it's just a spell slot to do something that would take a fighter like 3 turns to do.
That's why we love Shadowrun, because it has 3 subsystems equally as complicated.
Yeah.
You want to be a rigger? You want to be a decker?
That
You wanna
said,
be a mage?
like, I think I got the magic part down pretty good.
Yeah. It's
You
just
know,
that...
You gotta
well,
specialize, it seems.
yeah, that's pretty much how it was. I felt like at the table. You let the player of that particular character type be like the specialist.
Yeah. And then, like, then I think we probably did some stuff that would technically be considered like house rules, but like somebody, all of his visual, like his perception tests were all a sensing because he was always stoned on deep weed,
Right.
so he couldn't actually perceive normally. You know?
Yeah.
So, and that because of that, we got a pretty good handle on what the astral, like,
Right, yeah.
making a, what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, having, like, forcing us to describe it all the time that
Yeah.
way, you know? So
Which I'm completely 100% ripping off for.
I always
mine.
felt that the modifier wasn't steep enough, though. Because if I remember right, it was only a -2 in 5th edition for perception checks while astrally perceiving.
It was in third for sure, and it's for anything that requires a mundane
Right.
action. So all of your magical stuff remained untouched, except you get background count
Right.
to that. So
That's true. 'Cause I think I remember doing that when you were doing that. You were like helping out that church, and we were kind of having to describe the astral as you go into a toxic zone.
yeah, there was like a whole section to don't go.
Yeah.
Man, gotta stop talking.
Sorry, Brandon. You're game mastering Shadowrun now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that said, I would know how to handle myself a whole lot better in a drug infested part of town if it was Shadowrun.
we had We each had 20 false start characters apiece in the drug-fueled, barren, rundown part of town in Shadowrun.
All right. So
Boring.
yeah. So you'd have to attack the ward,
Okay.
and you need to find out how much power you need. It's just not. It's just not intuitive. Let's see.
Well, I think a lot of how the casting works, and I'm not sure, because like you said, they didn't really make it too intuitive here, is that the wizard will determine how much power they're going to do at the time of the casting, and the soft cap is equal to their discipline.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm just like I know I had seen. Like, what are you using to attack it with?
It'd be earth, some sort of evocation, channeling.
Well,
Okay.
if you need a week to figure it out, Brandon, it is a little past quitting time.
Oh, is
But
it?
you could also resolve the scene, too, if you want.
Well, yeah, let's have that. We'll say I'll figure that out next time. You can just... Okay, so
I think it was page 276.
use thaumaturgy. Do you have that? Or is that the one? I know there's one that you're not...
No, I'm channeling Terramancy
Okay.
is what I have. And then I use, because it's channeling, it allows me to use it as if evoking.
Mm-hmm.
So blasting, basically.
Okay. All right, well, go ahead. Let's have you roll your attack.
All right.
I did. It's not giving me the information I'm looking for.
So it would be my discipline, right?
Yeah.
All right. So now my discipline has a plus on it. Is that giving me the base, or is that including the staff? So right now it's a fair. So +2. Would I then add the third?
Yeah.
Okay. So base is 3. +2 more. So superb.
All right.
So 5.
So that does it. Yeah. So you're able to channel enough power to destroy this ward.
And I would take 1 mental unless I go over my discipline.
Right.
All right. So do you want me to mark that off already?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
And so after you do that, then you're aware, okay, it's safe to go into that room, and you can go free Frank there, who's tied to that chair. But we'll have to do that next time when we pick this up next week, because we have to quit there for the day.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I like to think that how it looked was kind of like, I don't know, something like magnetism-like, just kind of like in the whole room, kind of like a warping.
Yeah.
This has been a Deathwatch production. Thank you for listening.